Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Thomas. I'm going to be introducing the speaker. His name is NS Sen. He's the CEO of Magnamind Academy. We're really excited about this workshop because we know that he has a lot of different information than maybe our competitors will be able to give you, and just maybe a different perspective that will help you within this current program and also within your career going forward. We try to put on these programs just to kind of give you guys the fundamental skills as well as career skills and anything else that we think is going to help you in your career going forward, and that's kind of the most important part of these programs. So we please hope that you take them seriously as seriously as we do. So without further ado, please give your full attention to COO NS Sen.
Normally we planned for our CEO Murat Bey to do this intro. Murat, will you be able to talk, or should I go?
You can briefly mention about Magnamind. I will talk about our program.
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Mohammed, and I am Chief Operating Officer of Magnamind Academy. As Magnamind Academy, we are organizing a lot of events, webinars, boot camps like this. We are a coding school, focuses our operations in data science field, and we've been teaching data science for the last 4 years. We are organizing programs from the beginning steps of data science to till the most advanced topics like deep learning, from Python to deep learning. And we are organizing a lot of free events, free boot camps, free programs like this. And you're always welcome to join our events, to our programs. And having said that, I want to announce our CEO Murat Bey for his speech. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our free bootcamp. You guys hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, good. So welcome to our free Python bootcamp. So my name is Murat. I'm a Stanford scientist as well as co-founder of Magnamind Academy. As Enes mentioned, we've been organizing several free events. Please go ahead and follow us in YouTube and Meetup. We have Meetup groups starting in Silicon Valley, several in Silicon Valley, Chicago, New York. You can join them to get a live events, what we are organizing, what we are doing. So here I will briefly talk about our highlighted program other than this one. So we have a bootcamps, mentorship bootcamp. I will talk about briefly that. So I hope that you guys get ready for this bootcamp. So what we do is a lot of people are learning data science by themselves, and we are also providing those chances you guys can learn it free. So a lot of free sources are including us, and including this one, we are providing free lectures and free support groups like Slack channels. We have free access to our mentors as well during that Python group. So while you guys learn, a lot of people learn free programs, you can learn data science in theory from a lot of places. The problem is people don't know how to do projects, how to start the projects, which tool to use, which method to use while building projects. To able to address that issue, we organize mentorship bootcamps, which I am gonna share the screen to talk about it. In this mentorship bootcamps, we've been, am I sharing the screen? Okay. Yeah. Yes. So for the mentorship bootcamps, our goal is we're getting selected people. We want to get to some levels to be accepted in the program. And we need you to have some Python understanding and some machine learning understanding before you apply. Once you apply, we interview people, and we select the people who are qualified for it. So for among those people, what we are trying to do, get them ready for industry needs. So what we are teaching in here, tools and projects, getting people ready to perform projects in industry. So a lot of people struggling in interviews, although they pass all this theoretical part, they struggle in the interviews because they didn't perform the projects and they don't have an experience with it. So this program, among with the several mentors, we assigned 3 to 5 mentors to small, like 2 to 4 student groups. And in these groups, you'll be getting training by 3 to 5 mentors, and they are from Magnemind Academy and from top companies from Silicon Valley. And the students working on real projects, and then they do practice. We do practice interviews, and then we provide career coaching during the program. So we are trying to understand what is your needs during the program and provide the support from that angle. Our program is kind of a personalized education for data science, and we provide resume support as well. So, and then if the people are successful and they pass some level, could they get a qualification, they may be able to do internship with the companies we are affiliated with. So, but to able to be eligible for this program, I hope you guys follow these courses and other free courses to get a basic and fundamental understanding of data science. Then such programs will be very beneficial for everyone. So this is a quick summary of that, and I will talk about our teacher. So we made actually a slight change. We have a change in the teacher. And our current teacher, Dr. Abdullah Karasan, he has a PhD in finance, and he's data science group. He's written a book for O'Reilly, and data science in finance. It will be in 3 chapters. He's given several. He worked with several big data science companies. Now he just landed here with us, and he's a great asset for me and for you. I hope you guys take this as a good advantage and then follow the whole class from day one. And hopefully we're gonna provide, if you guys stay behind or missing things, we're gonna provide support for it. And for those people who are registered, we are providing the recording temporarily for the people who are registered for class. So hope you guys take benefit of and enjoy the class. Thank you.
Okay. First of all, thank you for the kind words, Mr. Murat. And hello, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be with you in this very first session of a 10-hour Python course. So today we are going to cover the Python fundamentals. These fundamental topics include the variable in Python, some useful commands, data types, for loop, list, dictionaries, tuple, and sets. And then we are, getting closer to the Python application for ML towards the end of the bootcamp. So in this very first session, let me first of all briefly talk about the Python programming language, and then we start typing some codes. So I choose to do an interactive coding during this session, during this 10-hour, so that you can easily follow and type yourself the Python codes. Okay. Anyone who wants to deal with data science must have programming language in the toolbox. It could be R, Java, Python, or any other language. However, if you are searching for a new career in data science, you need to consider the adoption level of a programming language in this world. Okay. So as a programming language developed by a Dutch programmer named Guido van Rossum, Python is the king of data science arena as being the most used language in this field. So I am as well an old R and MATLAB user, but I find Python is quite much more useful than these programs. So R is strong in terms of statistical applications. It includes some, high-level statistical modeling. Maybe the Python lacks of it, but Python easily deal with the big data, and it's really user-friendly compared to the R program. So this is my opinion. There are many reasons why we choose Python. We'll see, and you will realize along the way. But some of them are, Python is a general purpose language. It's a powerful language that can be used in many areas like web development, coding scripts, mobile application development, or desktop software development. By learning Python, you will add more skills to your inventory. Python is a language that is easy to learn and write with its clear and comprehensive syntax. Python at the same time is a fantastic data ecosystem for every need you can think of. You can find a Python library, except for some high-level statistical or econometrical applications. But as it's an open source programming language, people are, researchers are developing the high-level applications as the time goes on. So Python's open source tools have an impressive ecosystem in many scientific areas, including finance and data science. According to many studies, Python is one of the fastest growing language in the world. If you go and check the job description in data science field, especially, you will see that many recruiters are looking for Python knowledge. Okay.
So Dr. Abdullah, do you share the screen or?
I will soon.
Okay.
I will.
Okay.
All right. So to get started, we need to select the integrated development environment, which is for short IDE. I will use Jupyter Notebook. You can use like Spider, PyCharm, or VS Code. This is completely up to you. And let me get started with the very basic code in Python. I will share my screen and let's do the first coding here. Okay. I hope everyone can see my screen. So in Python, we are allowed to calculate and display the operation you type without typing any codes like this. Sorry, 1.9. It's 10. It's that easy. You don't need to do anything to calculate this basic operation. All right. So if you wanna write a sentence like "Welcome to 10-hour Python training program," you can do it using the quotes, double quotes here or single quotes. So if you are wondering why we put the quotes around the text, it's basically to tell Python that I'm typing a text here. If you do that, this means that this is a string. Python knows it as a string, okay? So someone asks a question. Let me take it first. All right. Yes, you can use Google Colab. There is no problem with that. Okay. All right, let me go back. Let's start with the variable first. I will define the variable. So if you follow me and type the code, you will, you will take advantage more on this training program. So what's variable? A variable is a name that's attached to a value, and we use it a lot in Python. Assigning variables in Python is as easy as putting a name, putting a variable name to the left of the equal sign. Let me do it for you. X is equal to 4. So if I run this, this is what I get. Okay. So X is my variable, and which is equal to 4. And I can provide different examples like X is equal to hello, or X is equal to in a list. If I use a bracket, it turns in a list. So let me print this for you. After running this, X, this prints the last one. So it's 1, 2, 3. So X is a variable in this setting. Okay. So if you want to assign a variable to a data or a text, this is what you need to do. All right. So there's a consequence of this variable as pointer approach that you need to be aware of. If we have two variable names pointing to a same mutable object, then changing one will change the other as well. So please pay attention to that, because this may easily create some confusion. And for instance, if you do that, like X is equal to 1, 2, 3, and Y is equal to X, then yeah, if you go ahead and use the Y in your further analysis, you need to be aware of that. Y is equal to X. You need to know that. You need to keep in mind that. So Y is another variable. So Y and X are the variables in the setup. Okay, this is how variable works in Python. And if you're okay with that, I would like to move on with some useful Python comments. All right. What else we got? Print function. Print function helps us to print the output on the screen. So I define L as a variable. So let me open a bracket here. Okay, 4, 2, 3, and 1. So this is the way I define L. Let me print it for you. L name is not defined because I didn't run it. There we go. All right. So if I want to sort it and run it, I can do it in the same cell. So if you do that, it's a list, as you see. I will talk about that towards the end of this session. If I open and close a bracket and type the numbers inside of it, it turns out to be a list. If you sort it, this is what you get. 1, 2, 3, 4, ascending order. All right. So let me give you another example in print command. Print Python is a programming language. Okay. I'm going to print this, and it shows me this one. If you use single or double quotes, there's no difference between them. But let me do this. So print, and the name of Python software is not inspired from a snake name. Another double quotes here, Python is not coming from a snake name, Python, and let me close it down and run it. I get this error because, let me do it, double quotes. Okay, I have double quotes here at the beginning and at the end, and I would like to highlight the Python here but it turns out it doesn't work. So what I need to do is to take this comment here, I copy and paste here, and change this with the 3 quotes, like this, and like this. Sorry about that. Okay. How about, okay, it works. Oh. Somewhere, right. I have 3 quotes here and 3 more. I need to have 3 more here. Here, and it works. So, as I said, there's no difference between a single quote and a double quote, but if you are using 3 quotes, like the one here, you can type something like this inside the quotation mark, and you can type multi-line text like this. Print 3 quotes. If you need more than 1 line, use 3 double quotes. Okay. If you try with a single or double quotes, you get an error like this. EOL. All right. Let me continue with some application of print function. At this point, I would like to introduce some parameters that you can use in print function, which is quite useful when you write more than one expression in print comment. You notice that it combines these statements by adding white spaces, like the one you see here. There are white spaces, and it is default. This is due to this separation parameter that we are going to learn soon. And this parameter is default, and it provides the white space here. But we can assign different tasks to this print, to this separator. Let me do this for you. He is 50 years old. This is my first code, and he is 15 years old, comma, sep is equal to plus. And this is what I get. He is 15 years old. This is the first output. And if I define the separator like this, I type the plus sign in between he is and 15 years old, as you see here. So if I do not specify anything, this is what I get. So it's white space. It's default in print comments. All right, how about another separator application? Print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separator is equal to minus, and this is what I get. So I put minus, or the separator between the numbers. All right. And the other parameter that we can use in print command is and. It's quite useful too. Today is Tuesday, I guess. Right. I copy this and paste in the next line and type and is equal to /n, and this is what I get. So if you do that, so you specify your end line, you are going to move to the next line. If you do that, you are moving to the next line. Okay, you force Python to know that. I can change the end parameter like this. Today is Tuesday, and is equal to inside the codes dot. So today is Tuesday. Dot and finalize the sentence. Okay. All right. The other useful comments is comment. Function is comment. All right. So the comments has many purposes. One of them, as its name suggests, to leave a comment, something like that. You are going to, for instance, you are going to type 3, but you don't want to do that now. You are going to use it later on, and you can do that like this. I will use this code later. Or if you want to type this function and you would like to remember how it works, it will return 3. Okay, so you can put this hash before the code to not to run it, to keep it somewhere in your script. You can do that. And if you want to take notes right next to the function, it's allowed to in Python. Okay, this is how commands work in Python. All right. By the way, we will have a short question and answer session at the end of the this 2-hour session. Let me finish my topics, and then we can discuss later on towards the end of the session. Data types. This is quite an important topic in Python, and as you know, as a prospective data science or the data science, it's better for you to know that. So we have various data types in Python. One is string, other is number. The third one is Boolean and none. So string represents the text, okay? So it comprised of a set of characters that contain spaces, number, or signs, okay? This is string. So you have string in Python setting, in Python language. Numbers, they can be an integer or float. Note that the decimal point is represented by a period instead of a comma. The period, we use periods in Python as define the decimals here. Boolean returns true or false, and non-type is useful for representing the absence of information in general. All right. So in this session, I'm going to introduce the complex types of data in Python, which are list, tuple, dictionary, and set. Okay. Let me start with strings first. Strings. Right. By the way, if you type 3 hash here, it's defined the level of header. If you do this, it's the first level header. If you do this, it's second level, and do this, it's third level. So it's strings is under the data types headline. I use the 3 hash here, and this is how it works. Okay. So let me define a string. As we discuss this, a string is a series of characters, strings. This is a string, okay? And it's how it works. And as we discuss, this is a string 2 with a single quote. It's a string 2, okay? Let me define with a variable. Name is a variable here. My name is Abdullah, and my last name is Hassan. Print name, last name. This is what I get. As you see here, white space is given default, and you don't need to type a string inside the print. You can type the variable if you properly define your variables here, as I did here. Okay. All right. if you are going to use apostrophe in the print function, in typing the text, this is how you can do it using the backlash and quote and T, T, like Apple. I don't like Apple. Close it down. If you don't use it, you get an error. So that's why you need to use this backlash here. Okay. Or let me copy this and paste here. I don't like Apple. And put a backlash. And neither do I. If I do that, this and right here the backlash tells me that I will move to next line. I will move to the next line. So I don't like Apple is the first line. After typing this one, neither do I moves to the next line. Okay. All right. We can make a selection in strings. Let's do that. We use square brackets to do that. Word, I define a word magnimize, and I will make a selection from the word variable that I define. If I do that, I do the first letter, I select the first letter. If I do that, I select the second letter. If I do that, if I select the third one. Print length of word, which means that the number of letters in word variable. Len is the abbreviation of length. And if I print word square the brackets colon 10, which means that I'm going to select the letters all the way up to 10th letter. So let's run this. Okay. So the variable word is magnifying. I know that. In this very first print command, I select the first letter, which is M. In this one, I select the second one, which is A. This one selects the third letter, which is G. And the length of word is 9. You can count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I'm going to select the words, the letters, up to 10th one. So it's magnifying. If I change this like 8, this is what I get, magnifying. So D is dropped because it doesn't include here. So please note that I start from 0. This is how Python works in index. Index starts at 0. This may create some confusion. You need to know that the Python always starts from 0. So if you want to make a selection, you need to start from 0. And 0 is the first element, which represents by M. Okay. Okay. The input function is widely used in Python because it gives me the flexibility to define the input. Your name is colon. This input function ask me the question, ask me my name. And let me keep going and show you how it works. I will design an input function as to ask my age. Your age is, oh, all right. Print. After answering these questions, name and age, I will print this. Your name is curly bracket. If you leave this curly bracket, the output will be in here. I will show it. I will show it to you. You are years old. Dot format name age. Let me briefly talk about this function. So if I run this cell, first I need to type my name, then my age. Then in the third line, I need to assign input into this curly bracket. So your name is whatever it is, and you are years old. The age, the name is assigned to here, age will be here. So my name is Abdullah. My age is 36. Your name is Abdullah and you are 36 years old. Nice, isn't it? All right. So that's enough for string, I guess. Let me briefly talk about numbers. As a data scientist, you are going to use it a lot. Let me create more cells. Numbers come into two main types in Python, integer and float. Floating numbers include some decimals, integers do not. Integers represents whole numbers that are written as fractions or decimals, and floating numbers include this decimals. Let me give you an example. 10 to the power of 6. So this shows the power. So 10 to the power of 6. Okay, so it produces 1 million. If I do that, 10 times 6, this is what I get, 60. So there is no caret in calculating the power in Python. We need to use double stars like the one here. Okay, it's really easy to deal with the numbers in Python. As you know, we use point here to define the decimal. 1.5 plus 1.5 is 1. All right. This is really easy. So how about Boolean? Booleans. So it returns true or false. It's returns binary results, and inside the print function we can easily provide an example to you. 5 is less than 2. Is it true? I don't know. Let's see. False. What else? Print 5 is equal to 2. It's a question. If you use double equality, like the one in here, it's like question. Is 5 equal to 2? False. Print 5 is greater than 2. True. All right. So we have some operators like AND, OR, negation, something like that. Let me briefly talk about it here. It's, this AND, OR, negation is widely used in Boolean settings. So let me define a variable A as 5 and B as 10. And let me run this and define this. Inside the parentheses, A is equal to double equal to 5 and B is 10. I'm asking this question. Let me see. True, because I define it here. A is equal to 5 and B is equal to 10. So these two equality should hold to return true in this setup. Okay. How about other way of doing AND? I can do it this way. 5 is double equality 10. This is what I get. This is exactly the same thing. You can either use this one or this one. Okay. How about OR comments? Parentheses, A is equal to 5 or B is equal to 10. Is it true? Yes, it does. Or there is another way of doing it, which is this one, the same thing. True. Okay. I keep doing some practice in Boolean function. Let me define a variable x, and I type int, which represents integer. Whatever you type turns in an integer if you type this command. Input input your grades. I'm asking a question. I'm asking what your grade is, and it will return an input here, and I will check if it is lower than a number or not. Let's do this first. Let me migrate it, be migrated. 75. Okay, I will check that. X is less than 70. It's also, sorry, 80. True. 75 is less than 80. Is it less than 70? False. It's not. Okay. The operators are not, limited to and or negation, but we can use some other, operator like is not, in, not in. Let me make some example about this operators. I will assign a variable a like this, 2, 4, 6 inside the list. B is equal to 1, 2, 3. All right. So I run this. This is what I get. Okay. So A is equal to B. False. It's not. If I type something like this, like 1, 2, and 3, then I should have this result, but it doesn't, work this way. So another way of asking this question, A is equal to B. Let me run this because I would like to show this one. To not to create a confusion, I'm deleting this 2 cells. I'm, working on this variable, and I'm asking a question, A is B? Is A B? Let me see, false. It's not. Okay, A is not B. True. This is true. A is not B. All right, 1 in 1, 2, 3. The 1 as a number is inside this list. True. It's here as a first element. 2 not in 1, 2, 3. False. It's here. Should be. No. This is not true. It is in this list. Okay. How about none? None function, none data type, let me say. If you don't want to define a data type, this is your function, none. So name, let me define a name variable. This is Adam. And last name, string, age 24, job, I have no idea, none. So this is what I get. If I print this information to one line, is the first name, last name is whatever it is, the age will be here, I guess, and her job is this, quotation mark and dot format. As I said before, format allows you to assign the variable here inside the curly brackets. Name, sorry, it's not this last name. Last name, age, and job. So again, name will be here in the first curly bracket. Last name will be in the second curly bracket. Age will be here, and job will be here. Let's see how it works. Adam Smith is 24 and her job is none. We have no idea about his job, I guess. It should be his. Okay. We talk about operator, but we can use it in the, we don't talk about the numerical operators like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, exponential, and so on. Let's do this. So at the beginning of the session, I make I sum two numbers, and it's really easy to do that. Like you just need to type the sum here. 30 plus 10 gives me 40. I can sum the strings, but it's not the way it works in numbers. Type academy. This is what I get. Or if you leave a white space, if you play with it, if you put a space here, this is what you get. This looks nicer. All right, so if you put the quotes right next to the last letter, you cannot get the white space, but if you put a space here and then run, this is what you get. All right. This is how, summation works. How about, subtraction? 10 minus 5 is 5. How about multiplication? 10 times 20, sorry, 5 times 20 is 100, right? If I make the divisions, please pay attention here because we have more than one options. If I use this operation, which is called true division, it returns a float number. If I do that, double, which is called as floor division, this returns integer. If you use this one, sorry, modulus, it's called modulus, it returns the remainder, which is 0. So please do not confuse with that. So let me repeat this. This is true division, returns float. This is floor division, returns integer. This operation returns remainder, and it's known as modulus. Okay. So in order to compute the exponential, this is what you get. This is what you need to do. All stars. Okay, this is the basic numerical operations. Let me briefly talk about the type conversion, which is again really important. Type conversion. So we can type the conversion. We can type integer to float, float to integer, string to integer, string to float. Let's see how it works. Okay. So we have this function here, integer, and float. These are the commands that I'm going to apply to make the type conversion. str. Sorry, these are my functions here. All right. Let me define a variable a, which is 42. B is equal to inside the code 10, which is string now. This is not a numeric variable. This is string. This is called object in Python language. 1.5, C is equal to 1.5, B is equal to apple. Okay. So let me type integer first and then B. Normally, if I type print B, this is what I get. Okay. And if you do that, sorry. if I do that, I turn it into an integer. So normally, so you see this codes here because it's an object. So I turn it into an integer, or you can turn it into a float like this with this decimal. Okay. So inside the print command, I can do this operation a minus. Normally, I cannot subtract a from b, but if I do that, I am allowed to do this mathematical operation. Print a minus float c, which is again a string, but if I type float, it turns in a float number 1.5. If I print d plus str a, so if I type str a turns in a string, then let's see how it works. Okay, this is the first two makes the mathematical operation here. Let's check it. 42 minus 10 gives me 32. A minus 1.5, I mean the 42 minus 1.5 is 40.5. And if I print D, apple, I keep it this way in a string format, plus str a, which is 42 normally as an integer, but I turn it into a string, apple 42. It is string. Okay. All right, for loop. For loop is a really, really, really important concept. We are going to use it a lot as a data scientist because it makes the iteration. I will talk about it. Let me create some blank cells. How would you type a program that iterates the same task more than one time? So the answer is for loop. The for loop is not the only answer, but is the most widely used one. The usage of for loop is so wide that it's it's almost all Python programming language include for loop. The for statement in Python supports iterative execution of statements or a block of a statement controlled by an iterable expression. So I can easily say that for loop is the backbone of the Python programming, and you cannot run your algorithm if you have no idea about for loop. Okay. The for loop is a generic sequence iterator in Python. Using for loop, programmer is allowed to go through the items in any ordered iterable object. So the iterable object can be list, tuple, dictionary, and strings. Okay. Let me first type how it works in words. For targets in object. Colon. Click enter. The indentation comes automatically if you put a colon here. If you don't, this is what you get. You start from the beginning of the line, the next line. But if you put a colon here and click enter, this is what you get. You get the indentation. And for loop works with the indentation. If you start from the beginning of the second line, you get an error, indentation error. So the statement comes here. So we iterate object. It can be list, tuple, dictionary, or string. The target is the one gets the value of the object and apply in the statement. Okay. It will make more sense when we do some examples. Let me calculate even and odd number in a range. Even numbers. Let me, first of all, create an empty list. This is how we create empty list. We will talk about it soon. This is how we create the empty list for even numbers, empty list for odd numbers. For n is the target, as you see here, in range 10. What does range mean? So I would like to talk about it right now because we are going to use it a lot in the for loop. So range allows me to run numbers starting from 0 ends at 9, not 10. Because it starts from 0, it includes 10 numbers, but doesn't include 10, doesn't include the number it's written here. So if you list this, if you list the range, this is what you get. Starts from 1 and at 9. There's no 10 here. Okay, this is how it works. So it's a list format. So instead of using range, you can copy this and paste here, but it's not very Pythoning way to do that. But does the same thing. Okay, range. So n takes the value of 0 first and run the following codes. If n divided by 2 is equal to 0, if it is, if 2 divides the n with the remainder of 0, give me this result, even numbers that append n. So, which means that if this statement is true, take this n here, whatever it is, first of all, it is 0, put the 0 here and store it in this list. Okay. Else, if it doesn't hold, if this statement doesn't hold, do this operation. It's numbers. Append function allows you to store more than one values. Okay. So I append the n squared of n, not the n alone, like the one here. Or you can do it this way. I just prefer to do that. All right. So let me start over and talk about it. Again, I create an empty list. I define a for loop, this n range, iterate range. So it takes 0 and do this operation. If it doesn't hold, it will be in the else. If it holds, it will be here. And then it n takes the value of 1, and 1 divided by 2 gives me the remainders if this operation gives me the remainder of 0, it means that it's even number. If it is not, it is an odd number. Okay, so it works like this. Let me run this, and one more stuff. Print even numbers and print odd numbers. So here 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8 are the even numbers coming from here, and 1, 9, 25, 49, and 81 are the odd numbers. So if I do this, remove the square, so this is what I get. So odd numbers stored in the odd numbers list, even numbers are stored in the even numbers list, and it works very well. Okay. All right, for loop with list. Okay. And let me define a variable names with different names in it. Adams, Hans, and Jack. This is my list. And the name is names. For name in names. So this name here takes the first element in the names variable and do this operation. Greetings. Greeting is equal to hello plus name. So first I get the hello, I print hello, and then name whatever it is. First name is Adam, second one Hans, and the third one is Jack. Okay. So print greetings. Sorry, greeting, not greetings. Let's see how it works. Hello Adam, hello Hans, hello Jack. So it works well. If I put a white space here, this is what you get. This looks better. So do not confuse with this name here. Maybe it creates some confusion because I have names. You can assign anything you like. By convention, we type I here. So if you do that, you need to replace this name by I, and you get the same result, exactly the same output. Okay, so do not confuse with the iterator here. It's not, important. It's all up to you to define. Okay, let me move on with another example. Names is equal to the same name. Let me copy and paste it. Okay. For I in names, colon, do not forget the colon, it gives you the indentation automatically. Hello, everyone. So what I expect here is that, please note that I didn't use I again. I can do that, but it implies that I'm going to print this 3 times because I have 3 names. This for loop iterates this operation 3 times without doing nothing but typing hello everyone, like this. Hello everyone, hello everyone, hello everyone. Great. How about applying for loop with a string? For loop, this is an for loop with string. Space. For characters in accessories. Accessories. I hope I didn't do any typo here. Print character. So what I expect is that I'm trying to print the letters in the accessories because this is iterable, like this. So there's someone is raising his hand. I will in the end of this session to our training program. I will get your question. There will be Q&A session. Let's leave this question to this session, and I'm trying to answer this question in this 10 minutes time period. Okay? If it's okay with you, let's do it. All right. So how about iterating numbers? We are iterating strings like this. It works really well. It iterates the letters in the strings. How about numbers? Can we do the same thing with numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? for I in number, colon numbers or number, I define number, sorry, that's why it's number. Print I. Oops, this is what I get. So the thing is, integer object is not iterable. So this is important. So I need to come up with a solution because I would like to iterate this stuff. So what can I do? You know the answer actually. So let me copy this, paste it here, and turn this numeric entries into a string. So number is a string variable now. For I in number, print integer I. Let's do this. Great. I have the result. I have the result. So if I don't type integer, this is type conversion, as you may remember, you get the same result. Okay. If I want to play with this function, we can do this like this. But why you have this? Because it's a string. So let me do this. So now you have the numerical operation. So do not confuse with the output of I. Let me do this again. It looks like it's a number, but when I multiply, it turns out to be a string. You understand that it's a string because I multiply a string because 1 times 2 is not 11. But if I type conversion here, this is the mathematical operation, result of the mathematical operation. Okay. We do some example in for loop in range. Let me do it one more time because it's really important. If for I in set range 8 colon print I. So normally, you know what the range is. If I do this, type list before it, it gives me the result starting from 0 all the way up to 7. Okay. In total, we have 8 numbers here. But if I type set, it gives me the unique numbers. Let me do it. Same thing actually, but you know, if you have a repeated number in this range, so if you type set, you turn it into a unique number. So this is what I get. Okay. So we can play with range like this. For I in range, range can take more than one argument. You can define the starting point, like the one here, 2, 8, which means that range will start at 2 and at 7, something like this. Let me show it to you too. You can do that. So within a for loop, print I. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Again, you can play with the result like this or this. Okay. If you are digging into more in Python programming language, sometimes you will see this star here, and it allows you to separate the elements like this. Normally you have something like this, but now you know separately have the numbers inside the range 10. Okay. And why it's usable, why it's helpful for us, because it allows us to apply some operations in Python. Let's do this. Print or range 10, 0, -2, which means that starts from 10, ends at 0, do it by reducing the number by 2, like this. 10, 8, 6, 4, and 2. Okay? Doesn't get 0 as it's, last elements. Or we can do it this way. Start range 3, 20, and 2. So this is what we get. So it starts from 3, ends at 19, or the closest one, and moving by 2. 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, and so on. Ends at 19. Okay. I will dive into more into for loop. I hope you enjoy it, because this will be your very best friend in Python. Okay, let me define a variable letter named letter with these letters E. Okay, so numbers is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to iterate two different variables, letters and numbers. So x for x, comma y in zip. Zip allows me to iterate two different variables. As a data scientist, we need this kind of iteration because sometimes we have multiple indexes, and in order to iterate them at the same time, we use this trick. We use this command, zip. Letters, numbers. Please keep this command in mind. You will need this along the way. All right. So letters is not defined perfectly. Okay, A1, so it's X iterates the letters, Y iterates the numbers. So X, A, B, C, D, E, Y produce 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. All right, let's discuss the list, tuple, dictionaries, and sets in Python. Let's start with lists in Python. Right. So far, you have learned the basics of working with variable, numbers, strings, functions, some, logical operators in Python. So now we are going to discuss the type of the data types, and these are very useful because we are going to store the values in it and do some operation using these data types. We start with the list because this is one of the most efficient data type. So in functions, we are going to learn function in the second session. In a function, we use list because it's really more efficient compared to the array, data frame, or dictionaries. Computationally more efficient. So we use brackets, double brackets, to create empty list, and comma to separate the inputs inside the list. All right, let's start with creating some empty lists. The list is equal to this. So now we create an empty list. Great. Let's define a variable letters and I type the string input in it. A, B, C, and D. Okay. First, I create an empty list and define a list named letters. A, B, C, D are the inputs. So please pay attention. If you are going to create a list, you need to use brackets. So open a bracket and a close one. Otherwise, you cannot define a list. There is another way to do that. We will talk about it soon. If you do this, if you want to define the list this way, you can do that, lists. So this one creates an empty list. So it's the same thing with the first code in here. Empty list is equal to equality and double brackets. And if you do that, it's allowed. So letters equal to lists inside the parentheses, one more parentheses inside the list, because I'm going to type multiple characters, B, C, and D. Sorry, and D. Okay. What else I got here? Letters, digits. Digits is equal to list, and again range 10. So I create a list with the range 10. I create a list with these letters. As you can notice, this one and this one are exactly the same. Okay, so let me type this. Print empty list. If I run this, okay, comma, letters, comma, digits, comma, separator. If I do this backslash and I will have the output for separate lines like this. This is the empty list coming from here. Let me take it here to create, to prevent some confusion, prevent the confusion. Empty list here. Letters is here, and digits is given in the last line. Okay. So if you want to calculate the length of a list, you can do that. Let me define a new list, languages, English, French, Turkish, my own native language, Spanish. And if I do this and type len, length is the abbreviation of length, as you can remember, languages, so it's 4. Why is that? Because I have 4 entries inside the languages. Okay. So far we use the same thing. We store the same type of data in the language. So in the list, not the language. So if I define the language, I use strings. If I create a number, I use the number only, but we can mix them up like this. Elements is the new name of my list. I type hello first, and then 42, 2.4414, true, or none. So I can do that. So I include string, integer, float, or boolean, or none. Okay, I can do that. I can run it and it works. Let me apply iteration inside the for loop elements. Okay, print the data type of is this dot formats inside the parentheses I comma type. Sorry. Type I. So type I gives me the types of the elements inside the gives me the types of I inside the elements, and this I goes to here and type I goes here. Okay, so let me describe it, talk about it. So I have elements variable. So I iterated first I takes the hello. So type I put the hello here and print the type hello in here. So I do the same thing for 42. 42 is an integer. The type of the data will be given here, and the type will be here. Okay. Sorry, let me do it this way. The data is the entry. Let me say entry is, and the type entry is this, and the type is this. This is a better way of doing it, I guess. Okay, the entry is hello, and the type is string. The entry is 42, and the type is integer. The entry is 3.414, and the type is float. Entry is true, type is boolean, entry is none, type is non-type. Okay, so how about making selection in list? Let's do this. New York City is my entry, and the variable is state. In making a selection, most of the time we use double brackets again. Please keep in mind that we use double brackets. So if I type 0, this is what I get, the first letter. Okay. If I type -1, the last letter. I select the last letter. This is quite useful. If you do that, you can use it in another function or operation in Python. All right. So there's one more stuff here I would like to talk about. I'm going to split this New York City by using this function city splits. If I do that, I am allowed to focus on the words here, New York and city separately. Let me do this. City split 0. Here we go. The first element now is new. If I do this operation, if I split this. Okay, so in list, we are allowed to do some operations. These operations are append, extend, and insert. In append, we add an element to the end of the list. It takes one argument only. It can be any type like string, number, object, list. It's all up to you to define. If I want to use the function extend adds a sequence of elements. Please pay attention here. It adds a sequence of elements to the end of the list. So in append, we add an element to the end of the list, but in extend, we add a sequence of elements to the end of the list. Okay, but it takes one argument again, like the one in append. Okay, the third option that we can apply here is insert. Insert adds an element into a specific position. So it takes two arguments. We need to specify position and the value. Let's do this. Fruits is equal to orange, apple, apple. What else? Banana and kiwi. Print fruits. This is kind of raw data for me. If I do that, I print the fruits, every single inputs of the fruits variable in separate lines. Fruits dot append strawberry. If I do that, I basically add this strawberry at the end of the fruits variable after the kiwi. Okay. Print fruits n. All right. How about extents? Let me separate this to make it more clearer. Fruits dot extent. As we discussed before, I am going to define a series of entries like apricots and grapes and clementine. Right. Print fruits, comma. Okay. Let's do the same thing for inserts, but do it in a different way. I'm going to apply strawberry, but fruits enable me to define the order of the strawberry. Normally, if I do the append, I take the strawberry at the end of the list, but if I type, for instance, 0, strawberry turns into a first element. Let me copy and paste it here. Print fruits and this. Let me run this. Okay, this is the first row, first line. This, what's wrong here? Fruit is not fruits, it's fruits, I guess. Okay, let me do this. Here I append the strawberry, and it is here as a last item in the fruits list. And I extend apricot, grapes, and clementine. In here, I have this list. After adding the strawberry, I have this list, and then add these 3 fruits afterwards. So I change my mind and insert 1 more strawberry as a first entry. This is what I get. Okay. All right. What else we got? We can sort it. Let's do this. We can sort the fruits like this. And let me print this with the giving it separation. This is what I get. So I sorted alphabetically. I can do the reverse, again alphabetically, reverse, and type this fruits. Again, this is what I have: strawberry, orange, kiwi, grapes, and so on. Okay, how about dictionaries in Python? Dictionaries in Python. Okay. Dictionaries. A dictionary is a common and useful data structure that allows you to store data as an unordered collection of key value pairs. So we have key value pairs as an unordered collection. So key represents the first entry, value represents the value and the second entry. Or if you type item in dictionary, it prints both key and value. Okay, in order to define a dictionary, in order to create an empty dictionary, this is what you need to do. Curly brackets. Words is the name of the variable, the name of the dictionary, and here you have the empty dictionary. So in list, you do this as you remember, open and close and brackets, double brackets. In dictionary, you use curly brackets. Okay, let's play with this. Words, books, or book. I'm typing single book. Alice in Wonderland. Okay, this is my dictionary. Let's see what it looks like. This. So inside the curly bracket, we have key here and value here. Okay. Stock is the new name of my dictionary. Apples, 10. Oranges, let's say $5. Let's print stock. Apples. I make the selection. I do the same thing for oranges. If I do that, it returns the value of the corresponding entries like this. Sorry, let me run this first and then this one. So stock apples produce 10, which is the value of the price of the apples. Oranges in the second line returns 5, which is the value of oranges. Okay. So if you print this as it is, print stocks, this is what you get. Sorry, stock, not stocks. Apples, 10, oranges, 5. Okay. Let's keep doing more exercises with the dictionaries. Adam, 20. John, 25. Simit is 20. I have majored in economics, so I like these guys, Adam Smith and John Maynard Keynes. So I define these names. Okay, refresh my memory. Print words.items. Open and close a parentheses. If I type this, I make the separation like this. Okay. If I do that, it will produce the entire, it will, print the entire dictionary for me. If I do that, let me do it, copy and paste and change the item with the keys, I get the keys. The keys, as you know now, is these strings. If I copy this and paste it here and switch this into values, I will print the 20, 25, and 30. Let's do this. Here you see. Okay, so you can call this dictionary items as list if you define it this way. I will copy this and type list here all the way to here. Okay, I type list here and then here and close the bracket, close the parentheses, and here. So it turns into a list. These were dictionaries, but now these are lists. Okay, we have some functions in dictionary, not as many as we have in list, but we can apply some function to, to make a change in dictionaries. How about updates? Update methods do the same thing with the append in the list, and you can include a new element inside the dictionary by using updates. Words is the dictionary that I define here. Now I add new name, which is one of the modern economics, Joseph Stiglitz, coming from Stiglitz, 42. Joseph 42. If I do that, this is what I get. Print words. Adam 20, John 25, Smith 30, and Joseph 32. Sorry, 72. Okay. All right. If you want to make a change in dictionary, you can do that. Words, Mike, without an update, you are allowed to do that. For 82, and words. So it's really easy to apply. So you can either choose update function to do that, or go ahead and type this, like creating a new column in data frame. We are going to discuss in our next session. You open and close the brackets. So inside the double bracket, you type your selection, your name, and then define the value of it. And this is what you get at the end of the dictionary. Okay. We have del function, del command in words. If you do this, you delete the mic and the corresponding values. Okay, words is like this. Here you see mic is no longer exist in this dictionary. Okay, so we can define more than one, kind of nested entry inside the list, like this. Sorry, inside the dictionary, like this. Open a curly bracket and close it. USA colon double square, sorry, brackets, and then New York and Chicago. Let me keep going with Spain. There's a question, I guess. I will get back to you soon, as soon as I finish typing this code. Barcelona, then print big cities. All right, this is how it works. Okay, someone was raising hands. Okay. Where is it? I cannot find you. Okay, sorry about that. Please. I'm listening. Hello. Jean Chan, can you hear me? Can I do that? Okay. Is it working? Okay. So can you hear me, Jean Chan?
Yes.
Okay. You have a question?
No, I didn't.
Oh, sorry about that. I saw that you're raising your hand.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I must have some mistake.
Okay. All right, let me continue. We are, running, time is running short for us. So let me continue with tuples. Tuples in Python. Tuples is very similar to list, but there is a big difference because it's not immutable. And list is mutable, but tuples cannot be immutable. So this is the main difference between the tuples and list. The other difference comes in the codes. We use brackets. Sorry, we use parentheses, not brackets, as we do in list. So Adam Smith 22, 45. This is my elements. This is my tuple. Let me define the type of it. Tuple. You see? Type is tuple. So the making selection in tuple is quite easy and very similar to the dictionaries. Elements 0, if you do that, you select Adams. If you type elements 1, you select the Smith and so on. Or you can make this selection like this, elements of 2, element Smith, and if you do the 4, you select every single entries in the elements tuple of elements. Okay. But what does immutable mean? Immutable mean is, you may remember, I typed this code in dictionary to append Mike, who is 82 years old, at the end of the dictionary. So that's why I can easily say that dictionary is mutable. But how about tuple? Elements is my tuple here that I created. 0 is equal to car. So I want to assign a new element inside the tuple. This is what I get. Tuple object does not support item assignment. So immutability feature implies this. No support for item assignments. Okay. So tuple is immutable, but you can use it in some areas such as, cryptology. It's, useful if you want to keep the tuple as it is without removing or adding an elements. If you want to store the value as it is, you can use tuples in Python. Okay. So in tuple, we have mainly 2 arguments or functions, which is, let me do it, index and count. Index give me the index, counts the reoccurring element in the tuple. So my tuple is 1, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 4. Print index colon curly brackets \n dot format my tuple dot index 4. Let's do the same thing and change the count here and count here. Sorry. Okay, so 4, the first 4 that I face has an index of 1 because index 0 belongs to 1 and 4 index of the 4 is 1. So how many times 4 repeats itself? 3. 1, 2, and 3. So these are the functions that I have in list. So the last topic for today is sets in Python. Okay. Sets are similar to sets in mathematics. They can contain multiple data in them, but only one from each value exists. So it stores unique values. Some operations like union, intersection, and difference can be done with the built-in Python code. Sets are shown with curly brackets like dictionaries. And the difference is that a dictionary consists of both keys and values, while a set consists of values only. This is the main difference between sets and dictionary. So let me define first the empty set. You can use it, do it this way. Okay. And type empty set. Sorry. Empty set. Okay, the type is set. So I properly define an empty set. Okay. Let's go further with the fruit example. I define a new set using the fruits variable, using the fruits data, apple, melon, and what is that? Orange. Print fruits, print type fruits. Oh, what's going on here? Okay. I define the new sets with an entry of apple, melon, orange, and I assign the name fruits. I print this set and then type of the set. This is what I get. Okay. So I can add or discard some elements from the set. Add cherry. This is what I get. If I print this is what I get. If I want to discard some elements inside the sets, discard is my function. Print fruit. So there is no longer oranges here. Okay. One more stuff, which is remove. The main difference between remove and discard is that remove raises key error if the item is not contained in the set, but discard ignores the error. So let's do this. We don't have orange anymore, like you see here. Let me give you another example, lemon. So lemon is not in the final list, final version of the fruits. And if I do that, I get the same thing. So discard ignores the error. However, if I copy this and paste here and type remove, this is what I get. Key error lemon. There is no lemon. I cannot remove it. This is what basically this function tells us. So okay, I stop here. And I would like to make a quick heads up for you. So is it okay for you if we meet September 4th for the next, September 4th for the next session? If so, if it's not, okay with you, please let me know. We can arrange something. But, 1st of September doesn't work for me. So I would like to change it if it is okay with you. Let's reschedule it for now as 3rd of September. Oh, sorry, 4th of September. Okay, do you have any question? If you have, we can discuss it. Lucy, all right. Lucy, can you hear me?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, when you're talking about range, why you add a star in front of the first one?
Dots or
Range.
star?
Range. Yeah.
Is it star or dot?
The
Where is the range? Let me find the range for you first. Sorry. Okay, let's do this. Are you talking
yes,
about this
yeah,
one?
in 103. Yeah, what is this star?
It separates the entries of the range so that we can do this kind of operations. So normally we have this function, if we print this range, this is what we get, okay? You cannot see the values inside the range.
I see.
But if you put a
Thank
star, you can apply some, operations with these unique elements inside the range, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. What else? Sorry about that. Okay. Ask to unmute. Can I do that? Hello, talk. Okay. Juan Lei.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well.
So when you create a set named fruits, yeah, I think this is the part. So we use this curly braces as dictionary, but we also use this square brackets, but it's like a list. It's like
Yes.
a list within a set.
Yeah. If you no, it's not a list in the set. So if you type this, you can turn list into set. You can do that. So if you do that, you are allowed to do that. You turn the other data types into list. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we have set and then the brackets, and then we also have square brackets outside this apple, melon, orange. What if we have set a set of numbers? Do we still need to have square brackets?
Yes, like this. Let me show it to you. Set one, let me say, curly brackets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and type set one. This is what you get. So it's set, you see? So you can use curly bracket and the numbers like this to define the set. It's like dictionary, but there is no key and value.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. What about sort function? So we used the dot sort function. Do we have sorted?
No, we don't have sort in the set. In the set, we don't have this. We have this function list and array.
So a list is like an array in Python.
In what?
We have list in Python, but we have array in C++ and some other languages. So are they the same actually?
I have no idea about C, but we have array in Python, and it is quite useful. We are going to discuss array data frame in the next session.
Okay, okay, thank you.
You're
Sorry, one more question. Will we talk about like default in Python? I don't know whether this is the correct term in Python.
Default?
Yeah.
If you are talking about default function, like we discussed the default function in various topics, but let's talk about this. So if you don't type separator in Python, you still have a separator here. It's white space. But if you want to define a unique separator like this, if you want to put plus in between, so you need to do that. But in default, it is a white space like this. You see?
Okay. What about default dict? Like it's a default in dictionary?
What do you mean? I didn't.
Sorry. I think we have collections in Python.
Dictionaries?
Yeah, in Python. Collections, do we have collections in Python?
Yeah, we have as a function. It's not a data type.
Okay.
It's not a data type.
So will we maybe talk about this a little bit maybe later?
Let me take my note and okay. Thank you so much.
Thank
I'm
you.
open to this kind of discussion.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. So, is there any question? Kevin, no. Okay, Kevin.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I got a question regarding to the dictionary, and I think you have an example for a dictionary that you have key and values, right? And the value is a list. Can the example the list can have a different type?
So we discussed the dictionary here. So
yes, like for example, in not in here, the one up, yeah, in here. So for example, the word is a dictionary, right? And the key is a string, and the value is a integer, right? So if the value is a list, and can the list inside, if the value is a list, can the list have a mixed type?
list has keys and values, you mean?
Yeah, and the values can have mixed type. Like for example, in here, I mean, the dictionary is Adams, right? And 20. Can the second one be joined and like another string instead of
You mean we can use string and values at the same time in a list?
yes.
That's right, but not in this way. But we can do that. Let me show it to you. We did this example somewhere here. Let me find it for you. List in Python. Here, you see, we use every single data type inside the list. Hello, number, sorry, integer, boolean, and none.
So
a bit
in
different.
dictionary, you can do that too, right?
We can do that too. That's right. But there is no key value distinction here.
Okay. All right. Got it.
Shri Lokhoita. I guess I know you, Shri, from the TA session, right?
Yeah, thanks, sir. I wanted to ask you about the dictionaries. Like, can you just give an idea about the dictionaries? What is that? Is that something which we have created on our own, or is that something which is already, existing by default?
I couldn't follow your question, but do you mean we need dictionaries in general?
Yeah, I mean that is it something which is like do we need to define it, or is it something which is present by present on its own? I mean,
we need to define it by curly brackets. It's not coming in default, so we need to define it by curly brackets. And it's quite useful if you want to, for instance, you want to iterate apples or oranges. Okay, you are going to add one for every single iteration. So you can do that by using dictionaries. It's really hard to do in other data types, but if you want to increase the values of these keys, so you can use dictionaries. So it doesn't come automatically. You need to define it like here, curly brackets.
I got it. So it can be either defined as numbers, like we can assign values to some variables, or we can also just have text assigned to some variables.
Yes, it works with the key and value pairs, different from the other data types. It works with the key and value. That's right.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. If you want to use numbers only, my suggestion would be the list. All right, Rafael. Hello.
Can you talk more about the zip function?
Which function?
You zipped
the... breaking up. Which function is that? List? So I couldn't hear.
ZIP.
Could you please type it for me?
The Q&A?
In the chat? Zip, okay, got it. All right, zip, let me find it first. Okay, zip function allows me to run 2 iterations at once. So normally, as you know, this is how for loop works. For I in range 10 maybe, and I print this like this, print I, this is what I get. If I want to iterate more than 1 elements like I and X in zip, open a parenthesis, range 10 to 20, maybe, and I comma X, sorry, I forgot parentheses there, right? For I in zip range, okay, there's a big problem here. Okay, how about this? Okay, so here you see I, it gives me this output in the first line, starts from 0, ends at 9, and the second range starts at 10, this is represented by X, start at 10, ends at 19. Okay, so it's how it works. So you can iterate over 2 different elements. Any other questions? Kevin, no?
Yes, I got a question on this. I mean, so for the zip, I mean, for the range 10 and the range 10, 20, they have to have, the first number has to match, right? I mean, so if I say range 9, I mean, it won't work, right? It's just an exception.
Yeah, you can shrink this and it works however it's, you know, it fits.
Oh, okay.
All right. What else? Any other question? Okay. There is no other question, I guess. I'm seeing some. Okay. I guess I'm missing Parashar.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I have a question that in what condition you prefer to use tuples?
Prefer to use?
Tuples.
Tuples. Okay,
yeah.
That's a really good one. Tuples is not, you know, widely applicable function in Python. If you are not going to modify the entries, you can use tuple, because tuple is computationally more efficient than the list if you're not going to modify it. So maybe you have a password and you store in the tuple and you're not going to change it. So you can, it's better to use tuple in this case. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. So zip function is kind of instead for loop. So what is the time complexity of that? Like, because it is a and for this only for loop.
I couldn't follow your question. You are also breaking up. Could you please repeat that?
Yeah. So what is the time complexity? What is the time complexity of zip? Like zip is like instead of for loop. Like yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
instead of
I can type it for you.
I get it. I get it. Instead of typing this and for x in range this,
right?
You're asking the efficiency of zip. It's more efficient. If you are using a big data, and you will see that using for loop inside a for loop will take a lot of time. It's not computation.
Yeah, it's n square, and then so for zip is n only time complexity.
Yeah, yeah, it's more efficient.
Okay,
it is more efficient.
Nice to know.